Stop. Your choice of a plane seat is a trap. You think you found the perfect spot, but if you hesitate for even 3 seconds in an emergency exit row, you will be removed from that seat. Every single year, airlines in the United States bump roughly 25,000 passengers from flights, often hiding the fact that federal regulations might entitle you to as much as $1,550. From balance errors that ground the plane, to the dreaded stink zones near the lavatories, the airport is a minefield of hidden rules. Your $2,000 laptop is at risk in the cargo hold, and your comfort is often the last priority for the crew. You have 9 rules to survive this journey and keep your cash in your pocket. Here is Rule 1 of 9. Did you know that gate agents and flight crews are trained to treat the exit row like a live job interview before they ever close the cabin door? Jaden, a 34-year-old teacher, was flying out of Pittsburgh International Airport, also known as PIT, last Tuesday. He scored seat 14C. It came with 5 extra inches of legroom, allowing him to stretch his legs comfortably. But as the boarding process continued, the confusion started. A flight attendant stopped by his row. She didn't just ask if he was willing to help in an emergency. She looked at his heavy, noise-canceling headphones and frowned. If you cannot hear the crew, you are considered a safety liability. Stop. This isn't just a suggestion from the airline. This is a matter of federal aviation safety. Most travelers think the exit row is just a perk for tall people. In reality, it is an unpaid position as a volunteer safety officer. Jaden felt his frustration rise as the attendant waited for a clear, audible yes. A simple nod will not work. Under FAA Title 14 CFR 121.585, if you hesitate for even a few seconds or seem distracted, you are moved to the back. The attendant gestured toward the rear of the plane, ready to swap him. Here is the fix. First, stow everything. In an exit row, even a small purse or a camera bag must go in the overhead bin for takeoff and landing. You can have 0 items at your feet. Second, you must be 15 or older and physically able to lift an emergency hatch that can weigh up to 50 pounds. Be ready to perform. Airlines always prioritize safety over your knee room. Jaden stowed his gear, removed his headphones, and gave a firm, verbal yes. He kept his seat. However, even the best legroom won't save you from the invisible math of seat geometry found in Rule 2 of 9. Always check your ticket details before you pay a premium for that front row seat. Sophia, a 28-year-old marketing specialist, was flying out of Madrid, Barajas, or MAD. She spent an extra $60 for row 1, dreaming of stretching her legs on the long flight across the Atlantic. But as soon as she sat down, the anxiety hit her. A flight attendant pointed at her small backpack containing essential medication and her laptop. "Everything must go in the overhead bin for takeoff," the attendant told her firmly. Sophia froze. She needed her meds handy, and she had a work deadline that required every minute of those first 40 minutes of flight time. In bulkhead rows, there is no seat in front of you. No seat means there is no underseat storage space. For the first and last 40 minutes of the flight, you have 0 access to your belongings. No headphones, no tablets, and no life-saving pills. Here is the fix. If you must sit in the front row, keep a tiny pouch with just your absolute essentials, like your phone and medication, in your pocket. Better yet, look for extra space seats in the middle of the cabin. Those usually have a seat in front of them, giving you both the legroom you crave and the storage you need. Always check the specific aircraft type on a site like Seat Guru before you click Purchase. Airline staff are just following safety protocols to keep the aisles clear of trip hazards. Sophia moved her bag, but she spent the first hour of her flight stressed and empty-handed. She learned about seat geometry the hard way. But that $60 she spent is nothing compared to the hidden equipment that can override your purchase in Rule 3 of 9. Chloe, a 45-year-old graphic designer, gripped her boarding pass at Boston Logan International, or BOS. Her eyes were fixed on the gate agent's flickering computer screen. She had spent extra money for a specific seat with increased legroom because she needed the space to work on her laptop. "I am sorry, Chloe," the agent said without looking up. "We have moved you to a different row." Chloe felt a surge of frustration. Why? Most travelers do not realize there is a hidden piece of equipment on the plane that effectively overrides your seat selection. It is located right in the bulkhead walls. These are the bassinet mounts. Airlines prioritize passengers traveling with infants who require these specific brackets to secure a baby bed. If a parent needs that space for safety, the airline system will move you regardless of what you paid or when you booked. This is a standard industry practice across most major carriers. Here is the fix. If you get moved, do not just complain. Ask the agent specifically for a comparable comfort seat and mention your original purchase. While the bulkhead offers no underseat storage, it usually grants an extra 3 to 5 inches of knee room. If you must have your bag at your feet, try to swap for an exit row instead. Politeness is your only real tool in this situation. Chloe took the new seat and found she actually preferred the extra space for her knees. But even a great seat won't help you when the pilot decides that physics is more important than your reservation in Rule 4 of 9. Have you ever been buckled into your seat, ready for takeoff, only to hear the pilot announce that the plane is out of balance? This isn't a mechanical failure, but it is just as serious for your safety. When Ethan, a 42-year-old architect, was flying out of Oslo Airport, OSL, he finally settled into his aisle seat in row 4. Then came the announcement. The nose of the aircraft was too heavy. 5 passengers from the front had to move to the very back, or the flight was staying on the ground. Ethan felt an immediate surge of reluctance. He had paid extra for that seat to be among the first off the plane. But here's the reality. Aircraft are incredibly sensitive to weight distribution. This is known as the center of gravity. If the weight is too far forward, the pilot cannot rotate the nose up during takeoff. If it is too far back, the plane could stall. Stop. This is not a suggestion. It is pure physics. If this happens to you, listen closely to the crew. While it is frustrating to lose your premium spot, airlines often offer a small travel voucher or priority boarding on the next leg as a thank you for volunteering. In Ethan's case, he waited for someone else to move, but the flight was delayed by 20 minutes because of the standoff. Safety always wins over comfort. Being the first to volunteer can sometimes get you a better deal than being the last person forced to move. Ethan eventually shifted to the back, but not before the tension in the cabin reached a boiling point. But losing your seat is one thing. What about your physical well-being? Rule 5 of 9 deals with a physical trap that many travelers fall into. Nearly 15% of economy travelers choose the very last row solely to save a few bucks, completely unaware they are buying a ticket to a physical trap. Take Camilla, a 29-year-old nurse from Nashville, BNA. She spotted row 33 on her screen and felt like she had won the lottery because it was $40 cheaper than any other seat on the flight. She clicked Select. It was a massive mistake. Camilla sat down and immediately tried to recline her seat to get some rest. The seat did not budge. It was bolted directly against the rear bulkhead wall. No leaning back, not even an inch. Then the real discomfort started. Since she was inches away from the lavatories, a constant line of passengers formed right next to her head. Every few minutes a shoulder brushed her arm. The constant sound of the vacuum flush echoed through her seat for the entire 4-hour journey. Here is the fix. Before you book, check the specific aircraft layout on the airline's mobile app. On a standard Boeing 737 or Airbus A320, the last row is almost always a no-recline zone. If you are already stuck there, head to the gate at Nashville early. Politely ask the agent if the flight needs a weight and balance shift. Sometimes they move people toward the front for free just to stabilize the aircraft. It works more often than you think. Reality check. You might still be stuck in the back, but at least you will know to bring better noise-canceling gear next time. Camilla learned her lesson and now pays for mid-cabin peace. Avoiding a bad seat is a start, but the real challenge begins when someone tries to steal your personal space. In Rule 6 of 9, you need to claim both armrests immediately if you are in the middle seat. Abigail, a 22-year-old student, was flying out of Cleveland Hopkins, or CLE, after a long semester of exams. She was stuck in seat 14B. That is the middle seat, the most hated spot on the plane. To her left, a passenger in 14A leaned against the window, sprawling over the armrest. To her right, the passenger in 14C claimed the aisle-side rest. Abigail felt like a sardine in a tin can. Her shoulders were hunched, and she had nowhere to put her elbows. It is infuriating when you have paid the same fare, but feel like you are getting half the space. Here is the unwritten law of the sky. The middle seat gets both armrests. Always. The window passenger has the wall to lean on. The aisle passenger has the extra legroom and easy access to the restroom. You have nothing but those two thin strips of plastic. If someone tries to hog them, do not start a physical confrontation. Just wait for them to move their arm to take a sip of water or check their phone. Then, gently but firmly, claim your territory. Most frequent flyers know this etiquette. If they do not, a polite request usually works. Not every passenger knows the rules, and some are just unaware of their surroundings. For Abigail, a pair of headphones made the trip manageable once she reclaimed her space. You have your armrests, but they won't save you from the invisible smells found in Rule 7 of 9. Liam, a 58-year-old accountant, slumped into seat 34C at Vienna International, VIE. He was exhausted. The ticket was a steal, but as the cabin lights dimmed, reality hit him. Every few minutes, a loud mechanical whoosh erupted inches from his ear. Then came the unmistakable scent of the lavatory. Liam was trapped in the stink zone. He had saved $50 on the fare, but the trade-off was his sanity for the next 8 hours. Most passengers assume they are stuck once the boarding pass is scanned. Stop. That is rarely the case. Wait until the flight attendant announces that boarding is complete. This is your small window of opportunity. Liam waited for the chime. Then, he unbuckled his seatbelt. He found a crew member and spoke quietly. He explained that the fumes from the restroom were quite strong in his row and asked if there were any open seats further up. A flight attendant checked her tablet and gestured to a seat 5 rows ahead. Reality check. On a sold-out flight, you might be out of luck. But flight attendants know these rear seats are the worst on the plane. They will often help you if you are polite and discreet. Liam spent the rest of his flight in blissful silence. But even a quiet seat won't help you when your luggage is taken away at the last second in Rule 8 of 9. Have you ever followed every single rule only to lose your bag at the gate? Leo, a 39-year-old financial advisor, was boarding his flight home from Venice, VCE. He had checked the 22 by 14 by 9-inch limits for his carry-on. He was safe, or so he thought. Because he was in the last boarding group, the overhead bins were already full. The gate agent was firm. "This bag needs a tag, and it is going in the cargo hold." Leo panicked. His $3,000 laptop and his essential medications were inside. Stop. Here is the fix. Always pack a small, foldable tote bag inside your carry-on luggage. If you are forced to gate-check your suitcase, you can move your valuables into the tote in under 30 seconds. Also, remember the lithium battery rule. FAA safety regulations prohibit loose lithium batteries in the cargo hold. Tell the agent you have high-capacity batteries and tech inside. They will often prioritize finding a tiny spot in the cabin for tech-heavy bags to avoid a fire risk in the hold. Reality check. Bin space is strictly first come, first served. If you are in the last group, a gate check is a high probability. Leo took his laptop out and handed over the suitcase, feeling relieved. His gear was safe. But baggage issues are minor compared to being kicked off a flight entirely. Rule 9 of 9 is the most important one for your bank account. Over 25,000 passengers are bumped from flights every year in the United States alone. Elijah, a 31-year-old photographer, was leaving Milan, MXP, after a long assignment. It was 6 p.m., and he just wanted his 10-hour flight home to be over. Suddenly, the gate agent's voice crackled through the speakers. "We are overbooked by 4 seats. We are offering a $500 travel voucher for volunteers." Elijah hesitated. Most people jump at the first offer, but Elijah knew the airline's desperation was his leverage. Stop. If nobody bites at $500, the offer almost always climbs. Wait until it hits that sweet spot, which is often between $1,000 and $1,500. Elijah stayed in his seat, watching 3 passengers rush the desk. The agent announced again, "We still need 1 more volunteer. $1,200 plus a hotel stay." That was his moment. He secured a deal that paid for his next 2 vacations. Under DOT regulation, if you are bumped involuntarily, you could be entitled to 400% of your one-way fare, up to a maximum of $1,550. Remember, this is a gamble. If 4 people grab the lower offer immediately, you get nothing. Elijah won this round, and he walked away with a check. Knowledge is your real boarding pass to a better travel experience. The airlines might not want you to know these secrets, but now you are prepared for anything the terminal throws at you. Don't be the passenger they take advantage of.
Join our squad and travel like a pro by hitting that subscribe button right now.